He was the man with no name, but the face that defined a century. He squinted into the scorching sun, chewed on a cigar like it was a toothpick, and told the world to go ahead, make my day. For 7 decades, Clint Eastwood wasn't just a movie star. He was a monument. He was carved out of granite and grit. He was the last living symbol of an America that was tough, silent, and unbreakable. We looked at him and believed that some men were simply too tough to die. But time is the one outlaw that even Dirty Harry can't outdraw. Today, in late 2025, at 95 years old, the silence coming from his ranch in Carmel, California is heavy. Clint Eastwood has finally put down the camera. The director's chair, occupied for half a century, is empty. Reports from his inner circle suggest that the iron will that kept him working into his 90s has finally given way to the frailty of the human body. But it isn't just age that is slowing him down. It is a broken heart. Just over a year ago, he lost his longtime partner, Christina Sandera. Since then, friends say the light in his eyes, that famous, piercing glint, has dimmed. The man who seemed immortal is suddenly looking very, very mortal. He recently confessed to a friend in a moment of rare vulnerability. "I'm tired." 2 simple words. But coming from Clint Eastwood, a man who famously despised weakness, they feel like an earthquake. They signal the end of an epoch. In this video, we aren't listing his movies. We are witnessing the final ride of the last cowboy. We will uncover the tragic toll of his recent loss, the heroic, almost impossible effort behind his final film, Juror No. 2, and why Hollywood will never see a man like him again. The sun is setting on the west. Let's pay our respects before it gets dark. To understand why this goodbye hurts so much, you have to look at what Clint Eastwood stood for. In an industry full of plastic surgery, fake smiles, and green screens, Clint was undeniably real. He didn't wear a cape, he wore a poncho. He didn't have superpowers or computer-generated muscles. He had a .40 Magnum and a bad attitude. He represented a type of masculinity that is almost extinct today, the stoic protector, the man who doesn't complain, doesn't explain, and gets the job done no matter the odds. Think about the modern movie star. They need stunt doubles for a jump. They need air-conditioned trailers. Then look at Clint. In the Eiger Sanction, he climbed a mountain himself. In Dirty Harry, he jumped onto a moving bus. He was the special effect. Most actors retire at 65. They go play golf. They relax in the Hamptons. They fade away. Not Clint. At 74, he made $1 Million Baby. At 78, he made Gran Torino. At 84, he made American Sniper. At 91, he climbed onto a horse and threw a punch in Cry Macho. He worked harder in his 80s than most men do in their 30s. Why? Because he wasn't doing it for the money. He has millions. He wasn't doing it for the fame. He is already a legend. He was doing it because he was running. He was running from the silence. He was running from age. He believed that if he stopped working, if he stopped moving, the old man would catch him. He famously said, "I don't let the old man in." That became his motto. It became a mantra for millions of us. We looked at Clint Eastwood and thought, maybe we can live forever too. Maybe if we just stay tough enough, time won't touch us. But in 2025, the old man has finally found a way in, and seeing him slow down feels like watching a mountain erode. It reminds us that eventually, gravity claims everything. The turning point wasn't a movie flop. It wasn't a health scare. It was a funeral. In July 2024, tragedy struck the Eastwood home. Christina Sandera, his partner of 10 years, passed away suddenly at the age of 61. Clint was 94. They say that grief hits differently when you are young versus when you are old. When you are young, you think you can heal. You think there is another chapter. When you are 94, losing your companion feels like losing your own limb. It feels like the book is closing. Christina was his quiet anchor. She wasn't a Hollywood celebrity seeking the spotlight. She wasn't chasing his fame. She was the woman who made him laugh at the dinner table. She was the one holding his hand when the cameras were off. She was the person he planned to spend his twilight with. In a heartbreaking statement, Clint simply said, "She was a lovely, caring woman, and I will miss her very much." He didn't say much. He never does. He is from a generation that buries pain deep inside. But the silence spoke volumes. Since her death, neighbors in Carmel say Clint is rarely seen. The man who used to be a fixture at his own Mission Ranch hotel, shaking hands and smiling at tourists, has retreated. Insiders report that the loneliness of that big empty house is taking a toll, heavier than any physical ailment. It's the empty chair at breakfast. It's the silence where her laugh used to be. There is a specific kind of tragedy in being the last one left. Think about his world. Sean Connery is gone. Burt Reynolds is gone. John Wayne is long gone. The men who understood his world have all passed on. And now the woman he loved is gone too. He is a king sitting on a throne in an empty castle, surrounded by ghosts. And for the first time in his life, the grit, the toughness, the Dirty Harry persona, it can't fix this. You can't shoot grief. You can't direct your way out of loneliness. The armor he wore for 90 years has finally cracked. But Clint Eastwood is a fighter. Even with a broken heart, even with a body that was failing him, he had one last bullet in the chamber. His film Juror No. 2, filmed when he was well into his 90s, this movie serves as his unofficial goodbye letter to cinema. Reports from the set described a scene that was both inspiring and heartbreaking. They described a man who was physically frail, sometimes needing assistance to walk, sometimes wrapped in blankets to keep warm. But when he sat in that chair, and when he whispered action, the years fell away. The sharp blue eyes focused. The command returned. The set fell silent out of pure reverence. The crew wasn't just working on a movie. They knew they were witnessing history. They were watching the last breaths of the golden age of Hollywood. They were watching a man will himself to work through sheer force of character. He pushed himself to finish it. Why? Because Clint Eastwood is a professional. He finishes the job. He doesn't leave things undone. But now that the movie is out, now that the press tour is over, there is nothing left on the schedule. No next project. No script in development. No casting calls. For a workaholic like Clint, an empty schedule is the signal. It is the white flag. He has reportedly told his children, Scott, Francesca, Morgan, that he is ready to rest. He is ready to stay home. He isn't retiring because he hates movies. He is retiring because his body can no longer keep up with his spirit. The engine is still willing, but the chassis is worn out. It is the end of the marathon. And my God, what a run it was. We have to accept the reality of late 2025. The Clint Eastwood we see now is not the man from the posters. His back is curved. His walk is slow. His voice, once a gravelly growl that terrified criminals, is now a whisper. But looking at him doesn't make us sad for him. It makes us proud of him. He squeezed every single drop out of life. He didn't waste a day. He didn't leave anything on the table. He gave us Unforgiven, teaching us that violence has a cost. He gave us The Bridges of Madison County, showing us the pain of forbidden love. He gave us $1 Million Baby, breaking our hearts with the harshness of life. He taught us that justice isn't always pretty. He taught us that men can cry. He taught us that redemption is possible, but you have to earn it. He is the last connection we have to a time when movies were shot on film, when actors did their own stunts, and when legends walked the earth. When he goes, that door closes forever. The link to the era of Wayne and Bogart will be severed. So if this is truly goodbye, if he really is tired, then we say sleep well, cowboy. You've fought enough battles. You've earned your rest. Clint Eastwood is 95 years old. The credits are rolling. The screen is fading to black. We may never see a new Clint Eastwood movie again. We may never see that silhouette against the horizon again. And that is a hard pill to swallow. But legends don't die. They just turn into stories. And Clint has given us enough stories to last 1,000 years. As he sits on his porch in Carmel watching the Pacific Ocean crashing against the rocks, we hope he feels the gratitude of millions of strangers. We hope he knows that he didn't just make our day. He made our lives better. He gave us a standard to live up to. Clint, if you are out there, thank you for the ride. To all the fans, let's give him a standing ovation in the comments. What is the one Clint Eastwood movie that defines him for you? Is it the spaghetti westerns? Is it Dirty Harry? Or is it the heartbreaking Gran Torino? Leave a comment below. And if you want to honor the last cowboy, type legend in the chat. Subscribe to The Seventh Lens. We are the keepers of the flame. We are keeping the history alive. Happy trails, Clint.